Maranello, Italy is the undeniable home of Ferrari, where racing legends are born alongside some of the most lethal and gorgeous machines to make it to our roads, where magic is made out of metal and carbon fiber.
You might be wondering, why on earth, quite literally, have we found ourselves here on the outskirts of Lisbon, more than thousands of kilometers away? And the answer might very well lie in the fact that here on the western edge of the Iberian Peninsula, we have lots of lovely scenery, some beautiful roads, and most importantly, sunny weather. It presents the right sort of conditions that can bring out the character of a car like this most strongly. A car that's been designed to take you as close as possible to the glorious sounds of one of the most perfect engines on the market today.
The naturally aspirated V12 engine isn't dead, and for that, you can thank Ferrari's latest member of the family. Or rather, latest members of the family. When Ferrari unveiled its latest torchbearer for the V12 front mid-engine Grand Tourer, it didn't just have a single car to show. Rather, it had two. This is the Ferrari 12Cilindri Spider. And to start, 12Cilindri, or 12 cylinders, of course, refers to that monstrous engine under its long hood.
At a time when many have rightful fears that emissions regulations are threatening to suffocate big and glorious engines, cars like this and its coupe twin are sticking to their guns and choosing to breathe rarefied, natural, old-school air. Now, underneath this long, clean bonnet, which is actually a front hinge clamshell that opens like that, absolutely magnificent, and you can even see the tires exposed here, lies a glorious V12 engine, no turbos, no hybrid assistant, just pure, good, natural aspiration.
We'll talk more about the engine soon, but let's move on to the Spider bit, which, as you can guess, refers to its open-top configuration. The timing of its revelation remains something of a surprise for Ferrari. For context, the 812 GTS premiered a good 2 years after the 812 Superfast. This time round, however, both body styles made their debut at exactly the same time.
And of course, because this represents an entirely new design direction for Ferrari, we don't get the same characteristic expressive face of old Ferraris. There is no gaping grille, no circular headlights, everything is a lot cleaner. For instance, we get these blade-like elements that function as your DRLs. They look so sharp that they could probably cut glass, and these are also mirrored at the rear where you get kind of like a blade-like light bar with the brake light connecting the two taillights. Now, the coupe might have the slightly cleaner looking rear, but I quite like what the Spider does, especially with these two rear buttresses, as Ferrari calls them, as well as this vertical window glass that we have here. You get a slightly busier rear end going on now. We have a lot of lines meeting in different directions, but I do feel like this design element accentuates the dual cockpit vibe that the car has. And also, I think now that we have the roof up, Ferrari's decision to make this as a retractable hard top rather than a soft top really comes to light a bit more clearly. You can't really see a fabric roof blending so nicely with the sharp lines that the car has, and I think that whether you have the roof up or whether you have the roof down, this car is still quite a stunner.
Interesting note, we actually get a slightly different take on aerodynamics here with these flaps, so to speak, above the buttresses that help to channel airflow over the car's body. You get the sense that the move to introduce coupe and Spider alongside each other was highly intentional on Ferrari's part. With both cars developed in parallel, the Spider isn't meant to evoke a radically different driving philosophy. Rather, it's supposed to emulate all of that athleticism, style, and performance of the coupe, just without the roof. You're probably asking, why a retractable hardtop or RHT and not a fabric roof? A soft top would simply not have cohered as well with the car's clean yet also sharp design. Meanwhile, the RHT is also said to offer superior acoustic and thermal comfort. Interestingly, this roof is always black, just like the strip you get on the car's bonnet. Walking the line between minimizing weight gain while maximizing stiffness has brought this Spider to the eventual point of weighing 60 kilos more than a coupe. As you'd expect, not all of that comes from the roof, but rather thicker seals and extra welding and the integration of the roll bar into the bulkhead of the seats. Okay, so I think we've done quite a lot of talking. That's all the groundwork we have to lay out. I think there's just one final thing left to do. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I probably counted a bit fast there, but... Forgive the lack of proper timekeeping, but yes, as hinted, the Spider's RHT takes just 14 seconds to retract and can be done at speeds of up to 45 km per hour. With its styling, the coupe was already quite a head-turner to begin with, but with the roof down, things are taken to even further extremes. I'm driving through this very small, very quaint, very peaceful Portuguese town right now, and
I do feel like I've seen quite a few people staring at me. In a good way, with adoring glances. Someone else just shouted in approval again, like, "Arr!"
That's exactly the sort of effect the Spider has. Still, it's not just head-turning looks that it can speak of.
Like the coupe, this car gets the new 8-speed DCT, which we've seen on other models such as 296 GTB, as well as the SF90 Stradale. And it is lightning quick, absolutely fantastic. We also love these very robust and tall pedal shifters, that make flicking through your gear such a joy and a pleasure.
One interesting feature that the Spider also gets is what's called aspirated torque shaping, which smoothens the peaks and valleys of torque in 3rd and 4th gear for a sense of linear and never-ending acceleration.
In fact, Ferrari says that this gearbox is 30% faster shifting than the one that was found on the 812 GTS. But honestly, unless you were driving these two cars back to back, you probably won't know the difference anyway. And of course, this car has the same sorts of magic tricks that the coupe has. This car rides on Ferrari's virtual short wheelbase 3.0, which literally has a shorter wheelbase than the 812 GTS. It's 20mm shorter to be precise. But what it also has is rear wheel steering, and not just rear wheel steering, but a very, very specific form that allows the car to control which of the rear wheels on the rear axle it wants to steer. The result is that the steering feel is very, very natural. The car has a sense of agility, despite this being so big, and it has basically all the lightness that you want from a high-performance GT.
Like the coupe, another trick that the Spider has is its pair of active aero flaps, which automatically deploy like mini wings between speeds of 60 to 300 km per hour for extra downforce.
Those brakes are also fantastic, very positive feel, very linear, gives you a lot of confidence.
And in typical Ferrari fashion, the steering of the Spider, if not super generous, is sharp, quick, and responsive. All that amplifies and builds onto the car's sense of agility without really ever scaring the driver.
Actually, this car isn't that too difficult to place on the road. I think credit is due to the fact that we have this really swollen wheel arches up front that kind of make it fairly straightforward in knowing and engaging where your edges are of the car. That is until, of course, you look at your side mirrors and you're like, whoa, I'm really filling up the entirety of the lane I'm driving on. I mean, after all, this is a big car.
So, it's clear that the Spider has plenty going on for it. It has a modern, comfortable, and Grand Tourer-worthy cabin. Plenty of tech, lots of presence,
and above all, that V12 in front.
This puts out 819 brake horsepower and 678 Nm of torque, or 30 brake horsepower more than the one in the 812 Superfast. Derived from Formula 1, sliding finger followers in the valve train reduce friction at critical points and have helped improve overall mechanical efficiency. And a number of optimizations like redesigned conrods, pistons, and a new crankshaft and intake system mean that this engine revs all the way to an incredible 9,500 RPM. The sound of the V12, while more subdued now due to emissions regulations, never fails to fill you with joy. With the roof down, you're brought even closer to the deep, inimitable bellow as it chases the red line. It feels raw, visceral, and truly special in an era where cars are going silent. Having the roof down to savor some of the most beautiful landscapes in continental Europe would already be breathtaking in itself.
And when you consider that the V12 is such a rare species today, the experience is made all the more special. It's not something that numbers or technical explanations can really elucidate. It's just a very emotional experience. I think the remarkable thing to me, now that I've driven the car in both its open top as well as closed roof configurations, is the fact that you really get this duality of character with the car. With the roof down and with you being exposed to that sweet V12 up front. It's a very involving and very exhilarating experience. You get to hear all the sounds, every shift in the gearbox. But then with the roof up, you're kind of thrust back into that refined-ish Grand Tourer experience that the coupe had always promised anyway. And here's also where Ferrari's claim that the RHT provides superior acoustic insulation is really brought to bear. At high speeds, you can't really hear any wind noise. You're very well insulated from the world outside.
If we consider the Ramit, the Go, the raison d'etre of the Grand Tourer as a high-performance car that can devour kilometers by the hundreds and shoot across continents with sublime performance, comfort, and style, then this 12Cilindri Spider perhaps one-ups its coupe twin in some way, by offering you the best of both the closed-top and open-air woes.
So there you have it, guys. That was a taster of our time in Portugal with the Ferrari 12Cilindri Spider. We hope that you guys have enjoyed watching this video. And if you have, don't forget to hit the like and share buttons, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on TikTok at Sgcarmart. For now, I'm just gonna savor every last moment that I have with this car. Bye! Let's go.